Hey guys, I'm really excited to be talking to you today from the shore of Lake Victoria in Uganda, in East Africa. I know we've been talking in this conference all about your cause and bringing definition to something that you can really pour your life into and be committed to and be an advocate for. And I think that there are a lot of different causes in the world, obviously, but there's some causes that are greater than other causes. And you can look at the things that people are fighting for these days and believing for and really moving their life towards. You see people fighting for things like global warming. And I think you can look outside and experience that global warming in Nampa, Idaho today. There's a cause there, but there's a greater cause. And you can fight for animal rights, but it's better to fight for human rights. So there's different degrees of causes, and I think that God has an ultimate cause, and I want to talk about that today, and I want you also to have the same cause as He has. I know that's been the theme of the conference. I know that's what we're talking about. But before I do that, I wanted to give you a little bit of my testimony and how we came to be in Uganda. And what the Lord's done through that. When I was 14 years old, I went to Southern Africa with my brother. He came in, he was 16, I was 14. He said, I want to go to South Africa. I want to go on this mission trip. And my parents said, sure, you can go as long as you take Brent. And I didn't have really a desire to go to other nations. It was kind of, I was young. I just wanted to go on this trip with my brother. But while I was there, the Lord really got a hold of my life. And it was on that trip where I not only fell in love with Him, but I also fell in love with the mission field and particularly the nations of Africa, of sub-Saharan black Africa. And from that time, I just knew, and I devoted myself to the Lord, and I said, Lord, I will serve you as a missionary in Africa. 14 years old. I'm 28 years old now, so half my lifetime ago, I heard the call of God to do what I'm doing today. So after I went back to Mountain View High School in Bend, Oregon, I began to prepare myself. And for me, I thought when I was 18 years old, I would launch out to the mission field. I had some contacts actually here in Uganda. They were inviting me. They said, yeah, you can come work with us on some youth events and whatever. So I was planning to go as a missionary. So for my 4 years of high school, from the time I was 14 till I was 18 and 19, God was using me in preparation for the mission field. And I remember so many times when we were leading Bible studies on our campus and we were, just sharing the Lord with people and having prayer meetings and everything, I just knew the whole time where I was headed. When I turned 18, I had an opportunity to go to college at NNU or to go off to the mission field with this missionary couple in Uganda. And at that time, wasn't sure what to do, but I felt like maybe I'll go to college first and I'll go to the mission field afterward, and after I got a little bit of training. So I went for a year to NNU, and I learned some things there. I ended that time early. I went to Capital Christian Center in Meridian, Idaho, and I began a 2-year process in their internship program. I went to Bible school, and it was really there in the internship where God spoke to me and reminded me. I think years had gone by since the initial call, and the Lord had to remind me and say, no, remember that I actually called you. Remember what you're called to do. Remember where I've called you to go. And I said, yes, Lord, and I recommitted myself. But it was even years later, I moved back to my hometown. I married my wife, Virginia. We began working at a local church. We were there for 3 years working on another internship program, another discipleship training program. And it was years later, and we still hadn't gone. It was still a dream in our minds, still a dream in our hearts to be in another nation, doing something great for God, and it hadn't happened yet. And one day my pastor came in and sat me down. I was on staff at the church. He sat me down and said, Brent, I know you're planning this trip to go to Africa. Somebody had given us some money, said, yeah, why don't you go and just have a mission trip, whatever. He said, when you come back, you don't have a job. You've done a great job, and we love you, but we know the call of God on you. We know your heart is to be in Africa, and we want to send you. And it was like somebody just punched me in the face. And those dreams, then everything that had been like, someday I'm going to do this, someday I'll be a great missionary in Africa, someday I'll really impact people's lives around the world, someday I'll go and make disciples of the nations. All of a sudden that someday punched me in the face, and it was now. Now the someday became now, and it was so terrifying. It was exciting, but it was terrifying. And I remember going on that trip with my wife. It was 2006. It was 10 years after I devoted myself to be a missionary in Africa. 10 years of preparation. We went on the trip, and we looked around, and we prayed, and we said, God, where should we go? We really don't know what we're doing, and we need your help. Of course, he led us. Of course, he spoke to us, and we went back. We made preparations. We sold all of our stuff, all of our wedding gifts, and all of that, and we moved to Uganda. And what was so interesting is that after so many years, you would think that it wouldn't be such a big deal. After so many prayers and so much planning and so much dreaming, it still took a massive leap of faith for us to leave our family, to leave our friends, to leave our comfortable lifestyle, to leave our house, to leave everything that we knew and loved for so long, to step out in faith. But God has really rewarded us in such an amazing way in the last 3 years. We've been here in Uganda 3 years, and we've already been able to accomplish a lot. And just want to show you a few pictures of what we've been doing. We have about 50 churches on the islands of Lake Victoria that we're involved with, and we've been ministering to them for the last 3 years. We have a boat. We go out and speak in their churches, encourage them. We have some pastors' conferences and seminars and those types of things to encourage the believers and to strengthen them, to see how they're doing, to help them become healthy. We give out Bibles. We've given about hundreds of Bibles in local languages to these village churches. We work with an orphanage called Osunnyday Village, and there's about 160 orphans that are there. We're helping to supply for their education. And also a pastor's school called the Island Leadership School, where we've trained over 100 pastors in 3 years. So it's pretty exciting and pretty amazing to see how God's given us that favor with the people in such a short time. Also, we have a local church called Life Church that we minister at. It's in Kampala, the capital city, and it's a thriving local church that we've been a part of for the last year. And we're helping to lead the worship ministry, a large worship team of 50 people. And then also we've just started this year a training discipleship, basically an intern program called Ignite. And we have 20 students that we're discipling every day in that program. So we're just really excited. We give the Lord all the glory for everything that's been going on and for all of the people that we've been able to touch because of it. So what I really want to share with you in the few minutes that I have left, I don't want to just talk about me. I want to get into the Word, and I want to really talk to you about the cause of God for the world. Like I said before, there's good causes, but then there is the cause, and the greatest thing that we've been called to. Incidentally, we actually named our website Plead the Cause. And you can look us up online, pleadthecause.com, .org, whatever. And because it's our heartbeat, and it's God's heartbeat that we fight for the thing that He fights for.